Totally gnarly dudes. Welcome to episode number 71 of Mouth Dancing, hosted by Young. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. But you would do it anyway even if I didn't thank you, because that's how much you like this podcast. And it would be kind of like an abusive relationship where the person just takes you for granted and treats you like crap, but you just keep coming back to them. That's kind of what this podcast is like, the dynamic between me and you guys, the listeners. It's like an abusive relationship. And I'm the abuser, and you're the abused, and you just keep coming back for more. Because you feel scared, like, what if I stop listening and then he gets mad at me and, attacks me or something? What if he comes looking for me? I'm scared of that, and I don't want to get on his bad side. But you guys don't have to worry. I'm not going to do that. It's not really like I'm an abuser, It's just kind of like what a relationship is like sometimes, I think. Just kidding about all of that. Let's talk about anthropomorphizing animals. You see, this happens a lot in America, right? I think it started probably with like Disney cartoons and then Looney Tunes cartoons. It's like all the animals are kind of just like humans, basically, right? Except that they look like animals. Well, actually, it probably started way before that. It probably started with like old fairy tales and old fables about animals, right? People just kind of anthropomorphize animals, in general. We just look at them and say, oh, they must be like us, except they have fur and claws and wings and scales and things like that. I mean, it's true that there's a lot of similarities between humans and animals, but we don't know for sure what they're thinking, so we shouldn't anthropomorphize them, right? Which is kind of like treating them as if they're like humans. They might have similar psychology about some things, but some things they might not, and we don't know for sure what they're thinking, right? Because we can't read minds yet. Maybe someday we'll be able to, but now we don't know what they're thinking, but we do this anyway. We say, oh, Mickey Mouse, he wants to date Minnie Mouse, so he's, buying her chocolates and things and wooing her, being romantic. It's like, why don't they just make that character a human if they're gonna do that? I guess if it's a mouse, though, it's cute, or I don't know, maybe kids like it, or what, I don't know why they do that, or it's more interesting. But then this kind of thing is problematic because people go around looking at animals, like treating them like they're just like weird little humans, or, just different looking humans, right? They think, oh, if I approach this tiger really nicely, it'll be okay because he understands, what I'm thinking. But then the tiger fucking rips your face off, slices you in half, and eats your fucking intestines. And yeah, that went wrong, didn't it? Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't treat tigers like they're animals. I mean, you shouldn't treat tigers like they're humans, right? I mean, humans are animals too, but we're a different animal from these other animals. It'd be kind of like if other animals looked at humans and thought, oh, that human thinks exactly the same way I do. Like, I don't think like a dog. Maybe sometimes I do, but not always. My dog seems to be thinking about snacks and food most of the time, but I don't think about dog snacks as much as he does, right? And there's so many movies too where, especially children's movies, where they'll be like a dog is the main character, and then they give it like a human narrator is narrating what the dog is thinking and how the dog talks and everything. It's like, oh, I'm Rufus. I'm hungry. I'm sad. I'm happy. And the whole movie is just like this dude doing this goofy dog voice, supposed dog voice, right? And yeah, so we shouldn't anthropomorphize animals for lots of reasons. I mean, not just the ones I've listed previously, but also because you ever notice that people will like say, cats are smart and dogs are dumb? And it's because cats behave like in the way that they think a smart person would behave, and dogs behave like the way they think a dumb person would behave. But cats and dogs are evolved to different situations and environments. Cats are smart for what they do as predators, right? And dogs are smart for what they do as a social pack animal. They're also predators, but they hunt in packs. So their behavior is smart in terms of what dogs are supposed to be like, and cats are smart in terms of what cats are supposed to be like. They're more independent or whatever, or solitary. And we think, oh, well, humans who are like independent and solitary are smart, right? But that's not even necessarily true either. That's kind of a stereotype in the first place. So this whole thing is really stupid. Don't ever listen to someone when they say, cats are smart and dogs are dumb. Because it's not true. And there's also the whole thing of domestication is involved. They're not exactly like wild cats and wild canines, so it's a whole situation there. We've bred them to be a certain way, so that adds a whole layer of complexity to the situation of, anthropomorphization. Is that a word? I don't know. Don't do it. I'm telling you now. Because then you end up with stuff like furries. You know those people? They dress up like animals, I think, and they get off on it. It's really weird. It's like borderline bestiality, I think. And we don't want to go there. Believe me, we don't want to go there. Remember what happened with that guy, Mr. Hands, who did it with a horse, and he died? That happened in Washington State, and that's some pretty sick business there. We don't want that to happen. It's just a word of caution for all of you listening, okay? So don't anthropomorphize animals, and I will respect you more. You want my respect, right? You want me to keep loving you, and respecting you, and appreciating you, and you need that attention from me. Remember the whole thing in the 90s about spotted owls? The environmentalists and conservationists were like, we gotta stop cutting down all the trees or killing all the habitat for the spotted owls. And, all the hippies and environmentalists were really concerned about this and raising a big fuss about it. But then the loggers, they were like, but this is our livelihood. We have to keep cutting down trees to make money. And then they made all these jokes like, save the trees, wipe your ass with an owl. That was a pretty popular joke back then. I think I saw it on bumper stickers. People had t-shirts, it was just like this supposedly funny joke to, own the hippies. And even back then as a kid, I just thought that that was like the least funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life. It was so stupid. The fact that adults came up with that and then they spread it around like it's this really funny joke, it's weird to me. The mentality of Americans is kind of childish, don't you think? Like, a lot of Americans are really childish. Their senses of humor. And, I'm not like that. I'm very sophisticated, as you can tell from listening to my podcast. I wouldn't say, wipe your ass with a spotted owl if I was a logger, right? I would come up with a different joke. I'd say, you don't like, what loggers do? Because we help get toilet paper to your house. We help get paper, lumber, whatever, plywood, whatever you need for your house. If we're not there, then you're not going to have any paper. And you're going to have to wipe your ass with unmanufactured wood. Like, you're just going to have to wipe your ass with bark. And you're going to get slivers in your butt. And that's going to hurt. And, it's kind of a similar joke, but I'm not putting owls into the mix, because I actually do feel sorry for the spotted owls. And it's not funny to destroy all their habitat so we can have some wood and paper. It's kind of evil, actually. And, I do feel some sympathy for the people whose jobs might be affected by, conservation. Maybe you could, if you don't like it, maybe you could go to another country, right? People say that a lot in America. If you don't like it here, then go somewhere else. So if you don't like conservation, then go to another country where you can chop down wood for a living, right? You could probably do that in like Russia or something. If you don't like it, go to Russia, alright? Hit the bricks, pal. Get the fuck out of here, alright? If you don't like it, get out. That's my advice to people who want to log trees for a living and who want to tell people as a joke to wipe their asses with an owl, because that's about how much sense it makes. Get out of here. You're going to probably have to get a passport because you probably have never left the country, but them's the breaks, pal. That's how it works, okay? Next, I wanted to talk about hiking. Hiking's a fun activity, right? People like to go into the woods or some other, natural area and hike around. Just walk around and view the scenery and take in the fresh air. Maybe eat some sandwiches that you brought with you and drink some beverages that you brought with you on the way. Occasionally you pass another hiker and you say, "Hello there. It's beautiful out here, isn't it?" And then, most likely the other person will start bragging about how much hiking they do and how much more they know about hiking than you do. They'll do it very subtly though, right? In like a polite way. But there's a lot of like showing people up when it comes to hiking. It's like, "Oh yeah, I go hiking all the time." One time I hiked like 100 miles by myself without any food or water, and I did it backwards, and I didn't even have hiking boots on. It's like, alright buddy, that's pretty impressive. And also I fended off some bears with my bare hands. Wow, okay. But that kind of thing tends to happen a lot in the hiking scene, I think. There's a lot of really like prideful and macho people who are like, "Yeah, nice hiking, but I'm way better than you at it, okay? I've been doing this my whole life." There's a bit of machismo and like one-upsmanship happening. I mean, that happens in a lot of areas of life, but especially in hiking. Hikers are really proud of what they do. And they're also proud of knowing like every trail in the area, like maybe even like trails outside of the state. But yeah, hiking is, it's a fun activity. It's nice. I think it's a little bit overrated though. I mean, what do you accomplish really? You get some exercise, and you get some fresh air, and it's pretty fun. But you could do all three of those things without hiking too, right? You could get exercise in the city. You could see some nature without hiking. You could just go to the place and just look at the stuff, right? You don't have to like walk through the area, and you get in some fresh air. Fresh air, I like that. But you don't have to hike to do that. Maybe you could even just go on a safari or something in Africa if you're lazy and you don't want to do all the walking, right? Hiking, yeah, it's fun though. I like it too. But it's something I just do like maybe once a decade or something. I don't really feel like I have to go hiking all the time. Like that's my life or something. And doesn't hiking kind of destroy the environment? Walking through it and peeing and pooping and eating and just breathing, just stomping the trails. So you could, look at a squirrel or something and feel like you did something really invigorating and, super tough and cool. Hikers, I think, imagine themselves as being really tough and cool. Like, yeah, I survived the Grand Tetons. Hiking through there, 110 degree heat. My canteen was nearly out of water, so I had to drink my own urine. And I had to eat a snake to survive. But it was worth it, because I love nature, and I love hiking. Right? You see a lot of these people in the hiking scene, and that's kind of one reason I avoid it. I do love hiking, I like nature and stuff like that, but those kinds of people, you gotta watch out for them because they're a little bit psychotic, and sometimes people disappear on hiking trails, and gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because there's a lot of fucking loonies out there who think they're like fucking Grizzly Adams, like they're gonna fucking wrestle a bear to the ground and, I don't know, choke it to death or something, like they're in a fucking mixed martial arts battle with Mother Nature.
People like that, mixing with like people who just want to enjoy the scenery and eat some trail mix, it's a bad combination right there. So be careful when you're hiking. Don't be one of those people who just disappears, right? And then they find you later and you're all mangled at the bottom of a canyon or something. It's like, I wonder what happened there. Sometimes people say that person fell, or they got mauled by a bear, or they got lost out there. But I think a lot of the times it's just some maniac, some hiker who's just amped up on too much coffee and ego, just off this person because they were jealous or something, I don't know, or they had to prove that they're a better hiker than everyone else. So that's just a word of advice for you hikers out there. I respect what you do, and I admire what you do as well, and I love nature too. And let's keep it chill out there, okay? Thank you for listening, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.